Hi everyone, it's Corin from iknituknot, and we are working on the comfort sweater and chilling with my cat Riley, and inwardly panicking that it won't be finished in time. There are 19 days left until my birthday on January 4th, and it's starting to hit me that I might not hit my goal. It's a hard pill to swallow that I might not be finished by my birthday. I know I said I wouldn't stress over the sweater, and 3 guesses as to what I'm doing. It's hard to stay motivated. I'm not usually a monogamous crafter, so to work on one project for so long with very few breaks, really only long enough to work on Christmas presents, it feels really foreign to me. I asked my tarot cards for guidance on finishing projects and having motivation. They tell me I need to learn when to take breaks for my health because to not do so will have long-term repercussions for my well-being, and to make self-care a priority. Those are all very good lessons that I have to learn, and we'll see if I actually learn them. See, I'm also being plagued with hand and wrist pain from knitting so much, and having been diagnosed with carpal tunnel syndrome in the past, this is worrying. So far, I've just been using my best friend, my lidocaine spray, on my wrists and hands. But if I want this to be a viable long-term hobby, I can't just cover up the pain. I need to actually take breaks and be responsible, I guess. Knitting day, I wiggle past all the lifelines and stray ends dangling off the sweater to see how long I have left. I'm working on the right sleeve, and I don't have too much left before I can bind that off. Sleeve is done. I used a new to me bind off, and I'm excited at how good it looks. I'm not excited that I have a whole second sleeve left to make. Multitasking is really getting me through working on this sweater. Tonight, just a few nights before Christmas, I'm spending time in an interactive Twitch stream with friends, playing a word game while I knit away on the second sleeve. This stream, Liquid Courage, got me through the Pandemic Lovato, playing trivia and trivia-related games, and it's going to get me through this sweater too. The day after Christmas is a day for relaxing. I'm snuggled up with Riley and my favorite Stitch plushie, and keep on working on the sleeve that I've neglected over the holiday. I'm in the middle of all the ribbing at the end, and there is a lot of it. It's basically ribbing from the elbow down, and we've already gone over my dislike of ribbing. It's cute, but it throws me off my groove. Ribbing is done and it's time to bind off again. It's a sewn bind off for 1x1 ribbing and it is intricate. It takes a few passes for me to memorize the steps, and if I stop in the middle of a pass, it takes forever for me to remember where I was. But the edge it produces is immaculate, and if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. It becomes sort of hypnotizing doing this bind off. Front to back knit-wise, right to left purl-wise, back to front between two stitches. Once the steps are firmly in my mind, my hands do all the work without me thinking about it. It's the very definition of flow. Today is Thursday, which means it's date night with my long-distance girlfriend. We hop into a voice chat on Discord and just talk. And it's the most lovely thing I can imagine doing. She's been my biggest supporter throughout this entire sweater knitting process, and tonight is no different. She keeps me entertained while I'm working on the body of the sweater, keeps my mind occupied while I swim through miles and miles of stockinette stitch. She keeps me laughing. And even when we're engaging in parallel play and just quiet while we're doing our own thing, I'm comforted by her being on the other end of the voice chat. I keep measuring and measuring and measuring, and I don't seem to be getting any closer to being done with the body of this sweater. I want to go a little longer than the pattern calls for so I can wear the sweater with leggings, but even that seems unobtainable. I know I'm measuring too often to see any real progress, but seriously, I was at 9 inches an hour ago. Shouldn't I at least be at 9.5 by now? More ribbing. That's all life is anymore. Ribbing for days. This is crunch time. It's the day before my birthday. I work around the clock, from the time I wake up to the middle of the night until 11:37 p.m. on the day of my birthday, until finally So we made it. We made a sweater. We knitted an entire sweater in 51 days. That's amazing to me. It might be the simplest thing to other knitters, but that has been just the most amazing experience to me. Yeah, I have a sweater that I made. It's actual clothes. Yeah, it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot of things. The most important thing, I think, is that I can do hard things. I can do scary things. I never thought I'd be able to make a sweater. I put it off for years, thinking that it was too hard, thinking that it would be too fiddly. I would have to learn too many skills that were beyond my purview. And when I sat down to make it, when I really looked at the pattern and when I actually learned the few skills that I had to learn to do it, this was one of the easiest projects I've ever made. It was wonderful. It really surprised me how easy it was. And even if there were parts that were challenging, it also surprised me how worth it was. The second thing I learned was a little bit more practical. 51 days, technically enough to make a sweater, not really enough to make a sweater. I can do it. I proved I can do it. Next time I'm going to give myself a little bit more time. I did have that week where I was flared up and unable to knit at all. So that did, change up the timeline a little bit. But I was really rushing those last couple of days. I was staying up until 3 a.m. I was waking up at 6 and 7 a.m., doing as much knitting as I possibly could all day. I was taking the sweater everywhere. I was taking it to parties, and it was too much. It was too much. So if I do ever have a deadline on a sweater like that again, I'm gonna make sure there's more than 51 days, maybe like 70, 75. That's a lot better. The third thing that I learned is that I am going to have to change things around for my plus-sized body. I did have to do a little bit of altering to the pattern. Just a little bit, not nearly as much as I thought I would have to. But in order to make things comfortable, in order to make things fit the way I want them to fit, I am going to have to learn a little bit of that dreaded math to get everything to rest the way that I want it to rest. I did have to add in a couple of stitches in the underarm. I had to add in a couple of extra rows down to the bust line. And that's something I anticipated. With me being plus size, I hate to say it, but I knew it wasn't going to be easy. It wasn't going to be as easy as it was for someone who is straight sized. So it got me ready to do the work that I'm going to have to do to make sure that I'm comfortable in my own clothes. Because if I'm going to be making my own wardrobe, there's no point in it not being comfortable for me. The fourth thing I learned, turtlenecks, not for me. This one's great. I still love this entire sweater, but this is kind of sensory hell for me. I would much rather have like a crew neck or a boat neck, something much wider. I'm used to the neckline on my clothes being like down here. So whatever I pick out next is going to have none of this. None of this. And that's okay. It's trial and error. It's something that I had to learn about myself. Now I know. Now it's easier. The last thing I learned is that I have so much support from everyone. Wow. When I would tell people I was making a sweater, they all just cheered me on. They were rooting for me. It was amazing to see how many people knew I could do it before I knew I could do it. I loved seeing how many people were really behind me in this entire process. When I would show up complaining or scared that I wouldn't get it done or scared that I didn't know what I was doing, I had so many people just say, "You're fine. You're a talented knitter and you're going to get through this." And just those simple words were enough to get me through. And so I just want to say thank you to everyone who believed in me and believed in the process and helped me to believe too. I couldn't have done it without everybody else. So, thank you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go wear this sweater for the rest of my life. These lovely people are my Patreon patrons, and they are the reasons why I can do things like make my first sweater and document the process. So many thanks go out to them. If you want to be a part of things like this, there's a link in the description. Thanks.